I'm Dena, and I run the people function at Drift, and I'm here with Fiona.
And I'm Fiona. I'm a software engineer on our reporting team here at Drift. I've been here for about 7 months now.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Fiona's experience on the product team and a little bit about life at Drift. So how did you arrive at Drift? Were you connected into Drift?
So I have a friend of mine that I went to college with. We graduated in 2017 together, and he came to Drift, I want to say 6 months before me, but don't quote me.
Okay.
And immediately was like, you need to be here. And I was like, I don't believe you. Like, it can't be that great. Work is work. And he slowly introduced me to some of his coworkers and started bringing me around Drift events. And I was like, wait, no, this place is awesome. I need to be here now. And I moved over within like 2 weeks of me deciding that it was just that great.
So what do you think motivates and drives Drifters?
The thing that I got when I was in like the social situation getting to know Drifters was a lot of like how friendly everyone was and personable, which I feel like I hadn't really experienced in any of my other product roles before. But then once I got to the office, I really realized it was so much more. It had a lot to do with the type of problem solvers we hire. Everyone is really into like sinking their teeth into big problems and figuring out how they can cut right to like getting to the customer value, which I think is huge. People also take that like personable touch that I kind of noticed right off the bat, and they really like to work with customers directly, which I love and have come to see as like one of the biggest benefits of being here. And being able to work with each other is huge too. So we have really small autonomous teams here at Drift, but I still get the opportunity to consult with people that are like in my domain all the time. And it's a great way for me to kind of expand my horizons and learn from them, but also keep the focus on like one specific problem that I'm trying to work on, which I like.
Oh, that's great. And when you think about like some of the characteristics or behaviors that we value in people at Drift, like how, in Fiona terms, how would you describe that?
I think the biggest thing that I notice is like the ownership that people exhibit over problems. So if you came to me and you were like, this thing's broken, even if I maybe didn't own it or if I wasn't sure how to solve it, like I'm going to dig in and I'm going to figure out what's wrong. I'm going to be able to tell you what's wrong. And like, even if I can't solve it, like everything about Drift has a lot of extreme ownership to it, which I enjoy. I also think people have a lot of grit. Like once they have that problem and they've identified what it is, there's a lot of determination to want to solve it and not leave it alone until you've satisfied or helped like improve the situation in some way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means you have to go find someone else to help you. And sometimes that means you can do it all yourself. But I think there's a lot of that. And it's, I don't know how I put this last one. Like the determination, the grit kind of go hand in hand, but also this need to grow as a developer too. So like I can consult with people and learn so much from them. And it means that I personally get to grow as a developer, but I also want to help Drift grow. And I think those are two really great qualities as well.
And what makes us different, and how do you think these differences make us better?
So in my past product roles, I think I got a lot of my work really like broken down, and like I think of them as like really nice clean cubes of things that I need to like digest and come out with a solution for. So that would mean like you tell me we have this problem, here's how we're going to solve it, go write the code to do it. And that was fine and it worked really well. But I think here at Drift, it's all hands on deck to help figure out like we're going to keep the problem as a problem, and we're not going to forget about the customer and say the problem is that reporting doesn't do this. It's the problem is that our customer needs to do this and we don't currently support that. How are we going to get to that solution? And making sure that our product managers, our designers, and our developers are all working on that together is a huge difference in like the way that I approach work and like my day-to-day, which I think has been huge. And also just the way that we like use our own product. Drift uses Drift to be successful, and I have never been in a company where that's the case. So I get just as much feedback from our customers and like being on calls with our customer success advocates, customer success team, as I do with my own coworkers. So I can walk down to the sales floor, I can walk down to our account managers and say, does this feel weird to you? And being able to get that real-time feedback has been huge for me in terms of like how quickly we can iterate and improve stuff.
Yeah. What are some of the Drift traditions that show what our culture stands for?
So my favorite is actually today, and this happens every week, and it's show and tell. It's a place where everyone in the company comes together and each department presents for 5 minutes about something they've been working on for the week. I think it's a really big thing for me because being able to showcase your wins but also your losses is huge. And back to that extreme ownership bit, I think everyone at Drift celebrates each other. And when we see failure, it's not a bad thing. It's a way for us to grow in the future. So my failure could help somebody else in the company in a different way, and we all walk away from the table with those learnings. And I think that's a huge reason why we managed to stay on the same page, but also know what each department is up to, even as we continue to grow.
That's great. What do you really love about working at Drift? Like, what makes you really proud about being at Drift and being in your role?
I love the people. They are the biggest thing for me. They're, when I come into work, like, they're the thing I'm excited about. It's mostly because I always feel like I have something to learn from my coworkers at Drift. I can walk into a room and I never feel like the smartest person, but I also feel like I am going to walk away with something new, and I think that's huge. And I think everyone feels that way. Like, senior to junior, we all know that we have something to learn from each other, and we're receptive to those learnings. And so that's huge. And also just the transparency around everything that we do, from the work that we're putting out for our customers to where we stand on our numbers. Having things like show and tell where we come together and we say, this is where we're at, is huge for me, because I feel like I can walk up to you, for instance, and ask you, like, how are things going in company success? And when you tell me, I trust that you're being honest, I trust that you're giving me the full picture, and that you really understand what the value is that you're adding for the company and for our customers.
And we've grown pretty rapidly, like 80 to 150 in a year, and now we're almost close to 300.
Yeah.
And we've had some bumps along the way, just because that's what happens in hypergrowth around communication and other components. You know, I know you've done some work with the team, the product team, around things describing our culture. Can you walk through what you recently did with the team around that?
Yeah, of course. So we do our ENPS survey every quarter, right?
Yep.
Quarter, okay. And we got some feedback in that when asked, like, who is Drift for? And some people were like, I don't know, like, I have great friends, but I don't know if they would necessarily fit at Drift. And we really wanted to dig in and understand, like, what that meant. So our product senior leadership team put together a talk to, like, figure out, like, how do we define who Drift is for? What does that even mean? Because that seems so vague. And one of the biggest findings that decisions that we arrived at as a team is Drift. It's not that it isn't for everyone. It's that we should be better about knowing who would do well here. Like, what do we enjoy most about the culture? And that's kind of where we had a spin-off workshop that I helped lead, where we really talked about, like, what makes a good Drifter, what makes me love coming to work every day. When I see a friend who I want to come be my coworker at Drift, why do I want them to be that way? And I think it was huge for us to kind of zoom out, because we operate really heavily under our leadership principles here at Drift, and they're great guidelines and, like, expectations for one another, but being able to put that back in terms of, like, a person and what they do and the behaviors and actions that they have was really big for us. And also helped us think about, like, as a company, what does that bubble up to? If you have a group of individuals that operate in that way, what does success look like for, like, the department or the team or the company when people have a shared vision about that?
That's great. I think we're done. And we got through it all. That was great. Nice job. You didn't even have to look at your paper.
I was looking.